Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 welcome. This is actually kind of weird. Tell me if the music is too loud, by the way, because I'm going to take my headphones off. Yeah, this is kind of weird, because I've never done this live. I've never done something like this live before. I've done the show Q&A Me live. I do HM live on youtube.com/Hismario123, but I've never done something like this before live. I don't know if anyone's gonna show up, but you know, we'll see, I guess. Yeah. You're going to see a live recording of the Hismario123 show, episode 10. Obviously, the YouTube cut will be, you know, more edited than this version of the stream. I'm obviously going to be just doing what I usually do. But if anyone comes in the chat, I'll occasionally have a look to see if there's any comments. Sorry, I keep looking over here because that's where my computer is, and it's also where my camera normally is. For things that isn't this show. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. If anyone does type in the chat, it will appear on screen, and it will appear in the actual episode. So you get to be a part of the episode, kinda. Obviously, if I had more viewers, I would do stuff with you guys more throughout this, but yeah. Am I balding? What the heck, bro? That's not good. Okay. Anyway. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer, and then we'll hop straight into it. So basically, where I am sitting, by the way, I've never explained this in an actual episode because it doesn't normally come up. If I was to just turn the camera, I actually kind of don't want to move it because, you know, I will. So I can move it back. That's normally the direction, and there's a light here right now. This is normally the direction that I film videos in. Obviously, the camera's much further back on my desk, but that's the usual background that I have for those. And then you'll recognize over here will be is Chalek. It will be more like that, and obviously in focus. But that's where Chalek will be filmed. Over there, currently, there's a few games. Again, I really can't be putting it in focus because it's going to stuff up my other focus. You know, whatever. There's a few games there. But over there is where I'm going to be filming for a new... Well, it's not a new channel, but I'm reviving his Mario stuff. They'll be starting sometime in October. And that over there will be kind of the set for that channel. There's my TV. Yeah. But then over here is the Hismario123 show. Now I need to get this all correct again. Yeah. So that's what it normally looks like. This is too close. Basically, I don't really care how much of that's in frame. I just don't want I want it to basically all be shelves in the background, which I know I don't always do, but that's kind of the idea. And then, because normally I have autofocus on, but then if I turn autofocus on while I'm streaming, it looks like this. And we don't want a white box there. So, I kind of have to have it off. So, I am doing a lot of guessing when it comes to the focusing aspect. So this episode could not be great with focus. I guess I'm out of focus there, aren't I? I reckon that's fine, because I'll just be sitting up anyway. Okay. Let's, why don't we start? I'm gonna take a bit of a pause between, because I normally do 3 segments, as you know. Let's go through what I'm going to be talking about today. So, in order, we are going to be. I kind of just have these to remind myself of what I'm supposed to be talking about. We have PC Mario games. This is the only one I have. It's Mario's missing. We're going to be talking about Wario platformers. I have other Wario platformers, but that's just the one was closest to me. And we're going to be talking about the creation of Sonic the Hedgehog. So, that's the stuff. And for the editor who's editing this, the episode starts when I say the words. And then you just edit it like any other episode. Okay. This is kind of weird. Oh my god, okay. Hi, I'm Charlie, I'm back, and welcome back to the Hismario123 show. And have you heard of I stuffed up that intro. Okay, let's try again. I normally stuff it up a few times. But then once I get rolling, I'm into it. Hi, I'm Charlie, I'm back, and welcome back to the Hismario123 show. Let's try that one more time. Hi, I'm Charlie, I'm back, and welcome back to the Hismario123 show. Have you heard of Mario games on PC? Mario games, of course, are normally on the Nintendo consoles. Started on the NES, or technically started in the arcades with the arcade game Donkey Kong and then Mario Bros. But his first console appearance, or home appearance, normally, you would all know, is the Nintendo Entertainment System, or Famicom as it's known in Japan. But that's not actually the case, and he's also gone off of Nintendo platforms a lot of times. So, the arcade games, Donkey Kong and Mario Bros. And Donkey Kong Jr. They didn't release in that order, but whatever. Those games actually came out for some consoles before the Nintendo Entertainment System ever even existed. That's right. I'm checking something with the audio. That's right. Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr. and Mario Bros. Are all on the Atari and the ColecoVision and the Intellivision. They're on all of those consoles. Officially licensed versions of those 3 games, Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr. and Mario Bros. Are on all of those platforms. Before Nintendo entered the home console business, kinda, if you're not including the like Pong machines. So back then Nintendo were licensing out Donkey Kong and Mario to a few companies, and then we got a few re-releases of those games, like Donkey Kong coming to the Atari 7800 in like 1988. That's insane. Super Mario Bros. 3 in Japan was out by then. But that's not really the weird part. We're only just beginning. See, have you heard of the company Hudson Soft? Now, Hudson Soft, obviously used to develop between Mario Party 1 and Mario Party 8 all of the Mario Party games. And they worked with Nintendo up until they were bought by another company. Well, before Mario Party, Hudson Soft actually worked on a few PC ports of Nintendo games, but they weren't really PC ports per se, they were more like semi-sequels. See, there was a few. There was like Punchball Mario Bros, which was sort of like a PC port of Mario Bros. There was a Donkey Kong one. There was another Mario Bros one. But the most interesting one is the game Super Mario Bros. Special. You may have heard of Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for the Game Boy Color, or Super Mario Bros. 35 for the Nintendo Switch, or even Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, or Versus Super Mario Bros., or All Night Nippon Super Mario Bros. But Super Mario Bros. Special was a officially licensed sort of PC port of the original Super Mario Bros. But there is a few differences between normal Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. Special. See, the original Super Mario Bros. We all know the layout on all of the levels. We all know that, you know, it scrolls when you run, but you can't go back. Super Mario Bros. Special is a bit different. The level layout, completely and utterly different. It is basically a whole new game. But it does use the same assets from the NES counterpart, although the colours are a bit weird because of the PCs at the time that the game was on. But also, the way that it scrolls, it doesn't follow the character. No, it has a Mega Man-like scrolling method. See, in the original Mega Man games for the Nintendo Entertainment System, when you walked to the edge of the screen would then move over. This is what Super Mario Bros. Special does on PC. Super Mario Bros. Special also adds a few more power-ups, like the Hudson Bee and a few others. It even adds the hammer from Donkey Kong into a 2D platformer. And I must say, that's a pretty solid idea from Hudson Soft. But this only began Mario's adventures on PC. See, Mario also became an edutainment game series. Now, what's an edutainment game? An edutainment game is an educational entertainment game. It's pretty self-explanatory. However, these games also came, or most of them anyway, came to the NES and SNES because this was at a time when the SNES were out. And this became the Mario Discovery series. There are 5 games in the Mario Discovery series. The first one being Mario is Missing. This is the PC version. There is also an NES version and an SNES version. This also is the first game ever where Luigi is player 1. Little fun fact, this is on IBM PC, released 1994, manufactured in Australia. And it's, edutainment. There was also 3 games in the Mario's Early Years series. Some of them were like maths or other things like that. They're all for learning things. And then there was Mario's Time Machine, which was another history-like game where you go back in time to learn history. All of those games... Well, the Mario Early Years actually didn't come to the NES. They only went to the SNES. But Mario's Time Machine did go to the NES and SNES and PC. And then later on they did a collection of all the early years games on PC only. And that was the Mario's Discovery series. There was also a few other PC exclusive games like Mario Teaches Typing, Mario Teaches Typing 2, there was Mario's Game Gallery, which was actually the very first appearance of Charles Martinet as Mario, despite Nintendo saying that his first appearance was in Super Mario 64. That is his first appearance on a Nintendo console, but it's not his first appearance as Mario overall, which is kind of funky, but whatever. But then after that, there wasn't really any more PC Mario games. There was a few like colouring book games that around this era as well, where there were PC games where you could colour things in and they were based on Mario, specifically like the cartoons, like this, you know, the Super Mario Bros. 3 cartoon or the Super Mario World cartoon. But Mario has never really came back to PC officially ever again. And it probably never will. Again, sort of. See, I literally just... Don't put this in the video. I literally just remembered this while talking. See, this game, it's in Japanese, but it's Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars, was actually written in HTML5 code. Which means that this game can be played on PC. It's already on Wii U and 3DS, and if you have a Japanese copy, it comes with a physical disc and a download code for the 3DS that, even when the eShop was open, didn't work. I think it's because I was on the Australian eShop. I can just buy a physical version of the 3DS one. Doesn't matter. But this game is also technically sort of a PC Mario game. But also not really. Fun little other fact. In the source code for the GameCube game Pikmin, there's actually a PC port of Pikmin. That's just in the files. It's a developer version of Pikmin, yes, but it is still an official PC port of Pikmin, only available if you look into the files of the GameCube disc. But anyway, why don't we talk about Wario? I don't know why I did Wario. The Wario platforming franchise is a very interesting thing to talk about. No, I'm not talking about WarioWare, the still ongoing Wario series, full of micro games that do have platforming micro games sometimes. I'm talking about the Wario Land series of platforming games, or just any Wario game that is some sort of platformer, because that's not just the Wario Land games. That actually expands to Wario World and Wario Spies of Disguise, or Spies in Disguise, or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. Now the Wario Land series actually started as the Super Mario Land series, with Super Mario Land releasing on the day the Game Boy came out in 1989 alongside Tetris. I think I've talked about this on the channel before, but I'm going to go into a bit more specifics on specifically Wario Land and its counterparts. So, Wario was introduced in Super Mario Land 2 as the villain of the game, as being an evil counterpart to Mario, which is where the Japanese, like, Waruji means bad, and then it's Ario, which comes from Mario. So Wario literally means bad Mario, which, yes, does mean Waluigi means bad Luigi. Good thinking. But, yeah. People liked Wario so much that Wario actually took over Super Mario Land 3, with the third game in the Super Mario Land series officially being called Super Mario Land 3 Wario Land, where Mario only makes a cameo in the whole game. Wario is the main star and the guy you're playing as. This spawned the Wario Land franchise. Now, I want you to guess what the next game in the Wario Land franchise is. Is it A, Wario Land 2? B, Wario World? C, Virtual Boy Wario Land? Or D, Wario Land the Shake Dimension, the one I held up before? What do you think it is? Time's running out. Let's see what the final answer is. It's Virtual Boy Wario Land. That's the second Wario Land game. Huh? So Virtual Boy Wario Land obviously released on the Virtual Boy console, Nintendo's most unsuccessful console ever. But it was actually the best game on the Virtual Boy. It was a, interesting game, and games still take inspiration from Virtual Boy Wario Land Games still take inspiration from Virtual Boy Wario Land to this day, including Nintendo. See, Virtual Boy Wario Land was the first game to introduce something that you probably have never really noticed in many games, but you know how there's a foreground, which is what the player interacts with, and the background, right? In Virtual Boy Wario Land, you can switch. Wario can go from being in the foreground to the background. Many games still do this to this day. I'm pretty sure Yoshi's Woolly World does it. Kirby's Epic Yarn definitely does it, I think. And there are many other games that do that. And the idea came from Virtual Boy Wario Land, which is insane. It's a short little game. It's not like a fully blown platformer. And it's, on a console no one bought. And it's fully in red and black. But it is the second Wario Land game. Now, what's the third Wario Land game? It's obviously Wario Land 2. Yeah, that makes sense. Wario Land 2 was, once again, back on Game Boy. I'm pretty sure it was on the Game Boy Color, but I might be wrong. Wario Land 3 is definitely Game Boy Color. But then, Wario Land became a fully fledged franchise. We got Wario Land 2, followed by Wario Land 3, followed by Wario Land 4, with Wario Land 3 being on the Game Boy Color, Wario Land 4 being on the Game Boy Advance, and then we got the GameCube platformer Wario World. Huh? Wario World is a 3D platforming Wario game that's I've never played. I really don't know much about it. I know it's got something to do with his castle. Wario always has to have a castle. It's sort of like a sequel to the Wario Land games. But it's also kind of just its own thing. I know it has a demo for the very first WarioWare game, which became an ongoing Wario series. But, yeah, it's pretty expensive to buy if you want to play it legally, which is how I want to play it legally. But I don't want to spend, $300 on it. Because it's a game that came out 20 years ago. So, But after that, I just have to Google what the name of the game. Is because I do not remember for the life of me what it was called. Master of Disguise. That's it. Next, the next platformer. Is it a platformer? Again, I need to Google this. I've, again, never played this game. Yeah, it is. The next game was Wario Masters of Disguise. In this game, Wario gets sucked into a TV. And it's a 2D platformer, not a Wario Land game, not Wario World. It's Wario Masters of Disguise. What the hell is Wario Masters of Disguise? This is once again a game I have never played. I can't imagine it being the best of all time. I can't imagine it being terrible either. I feel like it's just some game that came out on the DS at some point in time. There. But then finally we get the return of the Wario 2D platformer in the Wario Land series, with Wario Land either Shake It or the Shake Dimension, depending on what country you live in. I don't know why they changed the name. I think the Shake Dimension makes more sense because the game is about the Shake Dimension. Shake It also makes sense because you shake the Wii Remote. Who cares? Now, Wario Land the Shake Dimension, although being a very quality game, has this really weird thing that has put me off from ever fully completing it. The borders, and it's in 4x3. Why is it in 4x3? It's a Wii game. You can go 16:9. If you don't know what I'm talking about aspect ratios. If you're watching this channel, you're already a nerd about Nintendo games. I feel like you probably know what an aspect ratio is. But if you don't, for the two people that don't, an aspect ratio is, to put it simply, the size of the screen. So 4x3 is a square, 16:9 is rectangle. Cool? Don't need to explain anymore. This game is a square on a console that can make rectangles. Although this is technically a rectangle because it has borders. The art style, I will say, incredible art style. But it doesn't make any sense. I don't think anyone bought it either because this is the last Wario Land game to release. Also on the Australian copy, it has on the spine it says Wario Land the Shake Dimension followed by Wario Land the Shake Dimension, just in case you needed to know that the game was called Wario Land the Shake Dimension. Because then of course on the cover it also says Wario Land the Shake Dimension. Surprisingly enough, on the back it doesn't say it's Wario Land the Shake Dimension. Why is there tissues in here? Obviously, I did not buy this game when it came out. This is a pre-owned copy. I don't think I've ever opened it before. There's just some... It's not used tissues. Like, it's just tissues. I think it's to keep the disc nice. Or something. I don't know. I mean, I'll keep it in there. I think I got this game for like $15. I don't know. But that is where Wario platformers end. Of course, I would love for there to be a new Wario platformer. And technically, Super Mario 64 DS could also kind of be considered a Wario platformer because you can play as Wario in that game. But it's a remake of Super Mario 64 where you can also play as Luigi and Yoshi and Mario as well as Wario. So it's kind of a Mario game. It's just an oddity. That's what Super Mario 64 DS is. An oddity. So, yeah. That's Wario for you. The final thing I'd like to talk to you about all today is the creation of Sonic the Hedgehog versus Mario. Specifically looking at Sonic the Hedgehog in terms of its rivalry with Super Mario Brothers / World, depending on what you want to talk about. So, The NES came out, as many of you know. Sega also had a console of their own called the Sega Master System. And they wanted to create a character that was as popular as Mario and be like their mascot. So they created, obviously, Alex Kidd. If you've never heard of Alex Kidd, he does have a new game out, actually, to be fair to this guy. But, that did not work as Sega's mascot. No one cares about Alex Kidd. Pretty stupid name as well. So then, they got to work. They had a competition set up to see who could design the next Sega mascot. And the person who won, their design eventually turned into a Sonic the Hedgehog. There's a lot more to that part of the story, but I really want to talk about the production of this specific game, Sonic the Hedgehog, for the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis. For some reason in America, you couldn't handle Mega Drive, so you had to be. For some reason in America, you couldn't handle Mega Drive, so For some reason in America, you couldn't handle Mega Drive, so it had to be called Genesis, because it had to be cool and hip. So Sonic the Hedgehog. A lot of the developers of Sonic the Hedgehog actually were kind of big fans of the original Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo Entertainment System. And it got to the point, because obviously everyone's played World 1-1. It's the level that's replayed the most in Super Mario Bros. When Super Mario Bros. 35 was online and you tried to play the game, 99% of the time, the level you would play was level 1-1. Everyone knows. You run forward, Goomba, go to a question mark block, mushroom, jump over a few pipes, get invisible 1-up. Maybe go in the pipe, maybe don't, then get a fire flower, then get the star, then run through all the enemies, go up the flagpole, and then you beat the level. Everyone knows that. You can pretty much speedrun it. And that's pretty much the same for the whole game. Speedrun it. Speedrun it. Speed. This is when they hit gold. What if we make a platformer all about going fast? This is when we got the creation of Sonic the Hedgehog. We all know Green Hill Zone. It's, once again, one of those levels that everyone has replayed, specifically Act 1 of Green Hill Zone. This level you can just speed through, and Sonic is made to specifically gain momentum and go faster and faster and faster, running at the speed of sound. Got places to go, gotta find my own way though. Can't stick around, just have to keep moving on. Guess what lies ahead? Only one way to find out. Must keep on moving ahead. It's the lyrics to the Escape from Sonic Adventure 2. Anyway. Sonic, you can run really fast, and this seemed like the perfect way to beat Mario. And then they built this being fast into the promotion for the Sega Genesis, specifically in America. And then we got the term blast processing. This was the main thing to beat the Super Nintendo. Blast processing. 16-bit blast processing. That's better than good old Mario over there. What's he doing? Running around with Yoshi? Who cares? We have blast processing, unless you're in Europe, where the game runs incredibly slowly and has a really weird blue border like it's a Scott the Woz video. Yeah, the European version of Sonic sucks. because of, you know, the PAL region for a long time using 50 hertz instead of 60 hertz, they did not optimize Sonic the Hedgehog for European/Australian regions. Instead, they added a blue border, and it's slower. Well, the music is anyway. So this blast processing everyone was talking about, we don't have that. I mean, we do if you play, like, any collection of it, Xbox 360 and onwards. But if you want to play this version of the game, don't. Not a good idea. My camera turned off. Yeah, don't play this version of the game. They did fix the problems for Sonic 2. Don't worry. And that's the creation of Sonic the Hedgehog. And that is the Hismario123 show. Tame your phone, quackers. And when I say quackers, that's the end of the episode. Well, that was certainly a stream. I got no viewers. But it did make filming this a lot easier. It did. Shut up, me. So, thanks for watching the VOD. And tame your phone. Bye.